Now on the show, friend of the show, friend of the network, Sean Woodley, host of Locked On Raptors, as well as the unsung hero of the MLB and NHL channel, the ruler, I guess, the runner.
Grand Poobah is what I have on business cards.
Sean Woodley, Locked On Raptors. If you're listening to this on Locked On Raptors, I'm Nick Angstadt, Locked On Mavericks host. And we are going to talk about Kyle Lowry. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to talk about Goran Dragic because our two teams are now in this weird stalemate of will they, won't they? Ross, Rachel, is it going to work out for these two teams? Will Dragic finally get what he wants? Will the Mavericks finally get what they want in him going to Dallas? So we will get into that. But first, I want to ask you because for weeks and weeks, Isaac and I, our number one target after Kawhi, because Kawhi wasn't really that realistic, but after Kawhi was Kyle Lowry, and we were really into Kyle Lowry. We went at certain times we would say, okay, if the Mavericks got Kyle Lowry, they would be a title contender. We just were like, it'd be that good of a get for the Mavericks. Our YouTube comments were so full, and I'm sure Locked On Raptors listeners would be confused to hear this. So full of people saying, don't get Lowry. He's old and fat. Why would you want him? He's not worth that contract. He's not the player that you want. Talk some sense into some of these YouTube commenters, which is an impossibility, but just do it.
I mean, why would you want one of the 5 smartest players of the last 20 years in the NBA, who is one of the best floor managers in the NBA, who is an NBA champion, who is like, if you go back and look at the last 10 years and every advanced statistic that's sort of a catch-all win metrics, he's like top 5 with LeBron and Kawhi and Kevin Durant and Giannis most of the time. Why would you want that guy, right? Like, why would you want that to be the guy to put you over the top and give you more than one ball handler on the roster? Yeah, like that would be a wonderful addition. You should have been disappointed when Kyle Lowry ended up going to the Heat. I was like kind of rooting for the Mavericks thing because I thought that was going to be Kyle's best chance to go win a title as well. I think him and Luka Doncic, there's just so much basketball genius IQ on the floor at the same time. And you can say Kyle Lowry's fat or whatever. The dude is 35. He has not really had a significant drop off in his play or his ability in the last, ever since he turned 30. He got skinny, quote unquote, I guess, in 2015-16. He's kind of, I guess, packed it on since then. I don't know. He's in really good shape. I don't know what to say. Like, he's in awesome shape. And part of the allure of Kyle Lowry, he's got that thick trunk that no one can move because he's just the center of gravity is all tied up in the behind. Like, he would have been a wonderful fit. I don't know how you could have viewed it as anything other than that. Like, that's exactly the type of player the Mavs would have needed.
Not understanding that someone is thick doesn't mean that they're fat is a really weird thing for a Mavericks fan to not understand on a certain level. All right, let's get into the Goran Dragic stuff because this is sort of interesting. Maybe by the time you're listening to this, something will have happened. We're recording this around noon Central Time on Thursday, August 5th, so something may have happened by now, but the Mavericks and the Raptors seem to be in this stalemate. The Mavericks apparently don't want to be part of this 3-team trade because we haven't heard the full details on the Raptors trade to Miami for Lowry, and then what we've been told is Dragic and Precious Achiuwa, right? We still haven't been told all those details.
Yeah, that one, it's weird to sort of figure out because it does really depend on what Kyle's contract actually is. I think the sort of Woj didn't do anybody any favors when he was like, he's making approximately $90 million over 3 years. That approximately matters because if it's $87.5 million over 3 years, then they can just send back Precious Achiuwa and Goran Dragic and make the money work. If it's actually $90 million, they'll have to send someone like KZ Okpala as well. I don't know if they'd reroute one of those guys to Dallas just because the roster's so full. Maybe that's something they're working on. I'm not sure. And there's some draft compensation. But either way, like, Precious Achiuwa is going to be a Raptor. Dragic might be a Raptor. He might be a Maverick. I guess it totally depends on whether the Mavericks want him. It sounds like they do, but it also sounds like they don't want to pay anything for him. I know Tim McMahon also said on the Low Post that they don't want to spend $19 million on Dragic. That's what he makes. I don't know if you want him. That's what you're paying him because guess what? The Raptors are not buying him out. That is not going to be what happens here. So I guess my question to you is, like, do the Mavs actually want Goran Dragic?
If they don't, that's very dumb. They should 100%. For everything, like, we believe that they do, and they kind of need to at this point because they're running out of options. Mark Stein reported yesterday they're not in the mix for Dennis Schroeder. And so if you don't get Dennis Schroeder, if you don't want Goran Dragic, then who are you going to get for this secondary creator they've been trying to get all offseason? They've been linked to like every single one of them. They were linked to Kyle Lowry, they were linked to Mike Conley, they were linked to Dragic, obviously. They like linked to all these different guys because they wanted to bring in another guy that can get his own shot, that can run the offense when Luka is not on the floor. That was what they desperately needed last year. If they had even one more guy last year that was good at that, or at least semi-competent in that, they may have beat the Clippers in the first round with Kawhi going nuclear, which you're very well aware of.
Yeah.
Like if they just had one more guy. So I think they have to. And this offseason has been not that great for him so far. The only real additions were Reggie Bullock and Sterling Brown. And I don't think going into an offseason with like $34 million, that's the best thing that you could come away with. I don't think that was the best use of resources so far. So they have to get at least one more thing. And now it seems like Dragic is the last thing. It's the thing that they've been waiting on. And now, like you said, we're in this posturing of, okay, the Mavericks say, well, we don't want to pay him $19 million. That to me seems like, well, we're just going to wait for you to buy him out. So lower the asking price for the trade, right? And so my question back to you is, if the trade is then the deal that's been talked about the most, the one that makes it easiest for the Mavericks is Dwight Powell and Willie Cauley-Stein. That makes the money work. That makes, it kind of makes sense for the Mavs roster and all that kind of stuff. Was that the trade? Was that notification that trade?
No, sadly not. It was my creative cloud saying we need updating.
Dang it. But what do you think about that package? What do the Raptors look at that package and say? Is Dwight Powell an asset? Is he not an asset? It just seems like right now they would need to add something to it. But what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I don't think they'd be super enthused about getting two centers back. Like, it seems like Khem Birch is probably going to be re-signed by the team. There was a report out of a reporter in Montreal yesterday that he's already re-signed. That doesn't come from any of the big voices, but this guy is kind of plugged in with the Montreal basketball scene, which is basically Khem Birch and Chris Boucher. And so I kind of believe that something's going to get done there. I think Birch would have been signed somewhere if there wasn't the kind of understanding that he's going to get a good chunk of the MLE whenever the dust settles and the Raptors are over the cap and they have that asset to work with. So that's Birch. And then Precious Achiuwa figures as a center as well. They're pretty loaded on the wings. The 3 and 4 spots. They've got Scotty Barnes, OG, Pascal Siakam, Yuta Watanabe. Like, if Achiuwa's playing, it's going to be at the 5. And so I don't think they'd be super thrilled about having two centers come back. Like, Powell would be a nice piece. And if you have a center rotation of Powell, Khem Birch, and Precious Achiuwa, mixing in, I think that's pretty decent. And you kind of go forward with that. But to add in Willie Cauley-Stein as well doesn't make a ton of sense. So let me counter it to you. The Raptors are in a pretty good negotiating spot here because they can just keep Goran Dragic. Like, they are a team that's not going to tank. They're too good to tank. And playing back at home next season, it seems like they'll be able to kind of get back without Kyle Lowry even to something resembling respectability, whether that's a low playoff seed, the play-in, whatever it is. That's what they're going to try for this season. They're not a tanking franchise. They just try to stay good, stay relevant, and wait for a chance to strike at a trade. And Goran Dragic can help them stay good and stay relevant. And honestly, he kind of addresses the biggest Raptors need, which is they need people to create in the half court, much like Dallas with that extra supplementary creation. That's something the Raptors could really use. And if you have Goran Dragic as, mixed in with Fred VanVleet and Malachi Flynn as your 3 point guards, your 3 lead ball handlers, I think that's a pretty good way to be pretty good and have your bench lineups be effective and able to score in the half court. And I think there's no reason for them to move on from Dragic if they can't get something reasonable in return that fits what they want. And so the deal I've been kind of kicking around in my head, and it's kind of a pain because there's like a very small amount of cap difference between, like, if it was just Dwight Powell plus Josh Green, that would be great. But also that you need like another $40,000 or something like that to make it work. It's very silly. So the deal I've been kicking around in my head is 2 first-round picks from last year, Tyrell Terry, Josh Green, with Dwight Powell coming back to the Raptors in exchange for Dragic. I know that sounds like a lot to give up first-round picks, that you just recently made, especially for a team that hasn't developed a lot of guys like the Mavericks have. But is that at all reasonable, do you think? Is that something the Mavs would eventually kind of concede to? Because I think that's kind of what it's going to take for the Raptors to feel compelled to move off Dragic, because, again, they don't really have to move off from him.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's also, even if you don't keep him, $19 million on an expiring deal for a player that's playable is a really good trade piece to add.
Totally,
to, boost whatever salary you need to match somebody. So
the Lakers could trade all of their minimum salary guys at the deadline for Goran Dragic. It'd be amazing.
I think Josh Green and Tyrell Terry is probably too much, but like the Mavericks are running out of options right now. Plus, this regime didn't draft those guys. It's a new regime with Nico Harris and Jason Kidd, and so we don't know what they think about those guys.
Sure.
It would be weird because Tyrell Terry's on their summer league team, and Josh Green is coming back from the Olympics and on the summer league team to trade them in the middle of that, especially both of them. But if that's what it gets to, man, the West is so weird this year that I think it might almost be worth it because to get Dragic would make you a little bit better, and maybe you just need to be a little bit better in order to to go to the finals or to win a title, because who else in the West is super scary to you right now? There's the Lakers and Warriors. They have lots of flaws and issues. There's this weird tier of like the Suns and Jazz. Are they going to be right back there? What do we think about the Suns even? Because their path to the finals last year was so odd. And so I almost think they have to make this move for the offseason, for their almost for Nico's job, almost to make it look like he did at least something of a good job in his first attempt at an offseason. So I think eventually if it got to it, I think they may do that. But there's a lot of posturing going back and forth. I think you and I could talk about this for a while, but I think that's what it's probably going to come down to is, are they willing to give up, Josh Green, Tyrell Terry, maybe both of them, instead of, going the Dwight Powell and Willie route.
And maybe there's a world in which the Raptors like reroute the second rounder they're getting from Miami reportedly, right, to kind of sweeten the pot the other way. Like that could happen too. I don't think they'd include Achua just because I think that's like kind of a Raptors-y sort of project type guy. Like I think they'd be happy to work with him. But if they rerouted a second, maybe an extra second to kind of balance the scales a little bit, that could be possible. I just want this to be over. I want to enjoy the summer. Like this is just like really we're holding up the entire offseason for Goran Dragic. Maybe they're going to be part of that big like reported 8-team super trade. Maybe that's what's happening here. But
holding up player that doesn't make sense. Holding up the offseason for a player that doesn't make sense. The Dallas Mavericks free agency method since 2012 or whatever. It was
I look forward to Luka Doncic going to Dragic's house and like doing the reverse of locking him in the house like DeAndre Jordan with the old Clippers or something.
We've already seen Dragic watching the Slovenia national team in his own jersey, watching the team like getting excited when they won that last game. So we've already seen that. Apparently there's been an interview with him where he says he wants to go to Dallas, and so the Mavs see that as leverage, and I don't think that is as much leverage as they think it is. So. There you go. Sean Woodley. We could talk about this a lot. I'm Nick Angstadt, Locked On Mavericks. Go listen to Locked On Raptors if you want to hear more about this budding young now Raptors team all of a sudden.
Yeah, young and super weird, and maybe going to throw the idea of positions completely in the trash. We'll look out for center Scotty Barnes and point guard Pascal Siakam, and apparently Goran Dragic like running the second unit. Maybe, I don't know. It's weird.
That'd be kind of a fun team to watch, even though I want Dragic on the Mavs really bad.
Yeah, they are going to be like super weird and probably fun, and will win games like 11-9 because their offense is probably going to stink, but their defense will be airtight.
There you go.